Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another year of the Pacific Nations Cup. This one, Tonga taking on Samoa for the opening contest on this side of the draw. Now, currently USA versus Canada is taking place, and it is relatively close between those two sides, but it looks like a great crowd here in Tonga for this match. Looking through at the starting side for the Tongans, they are looking dangerous for this Pacific Nations Cup. In the front row, it is Fisi Ahoy alongside Saula Mali and also Ben Funa, the big man, in that number 3 jersey. In the locking duo will be Leva Fafita alongside Harrison Mateeli. Both sides have already sung the national anthems. We are not too far away from the start of this contest. Halafanua in the number 6 jersey. In the number 7, it will be Moala, and then number 8, Lotu Anisi. Now, he is a player who missed a majority of Super Rugby Pacific due to injury, but boy, can he run the ball hard. Will be one of those big physical forwards for the Tongans. In this game, it is going to be Takalua as the number 9 alongside Patrick Pellegrini. He was tearing it up for Moana Pacifica this year. In the midfield, it will be Fatuli Pai alongside Solomon Ikata. Then Finia Nisi out on the right wing with John Tipulelu as the number 11. And then it will be number 15, Salisi Piatel. Looking through at the Samoan starting lineup, they will be as follows. In the front row, Aki Saruli alongside Ane Asu and Michael Alaratoa. So him and Ben Funa, both an important role to play in those number 3 jerseys for this matchup. I'm not too sure how scrums will go. Now, the last time that these two sides went head-to-head, Samoa did get the better of Tonga at times, but the Tongan physicality still did shine through. Ben Nini alongside Samuel Slade in the locking duo. Taleni Su at 6, Theo McFarlane 7, and then it will be Patelo Mapu slotting in as the number 8 in the backline. Malani Matavao alongside Alatimu as that 9-10 combo. Henry Taiafu and also Nanai in the midfield. And then the back 3, Tuna Tuitama. Anyone who knows him from the 7 side of things for Samoa knows he's an absolute beast. And also we did get to see him in Super Rugby Pacific for this season. Out on the other wing, Tomasi Alosio and then Lolangi Vizinia as that number 15. He has played for Hawke's Bay. He has been a Hurricane. But now he gets that chance for Moana Pacifica and also for the Samoans. But those are the starting lineups. These are the previous results for these two sides. We did see in November last year the Tongans having some matches, but I believe they haven't had a huge amount of opportunity throughout this season. So we do, of course, want to see Tonga playing some more games as this match progresses, or as this season, I should say, does progress. At the moment, the two sides having a bit of a standoff. Patrick Pellegrini's trying to look intimidating, but he can't help but smile at what he is involved with here, which is a massive game of the Pacific Nations Cup. He's actually covering his mouth there to try and look a little bit less like he's smiling. But Samoa, they played Scotland in the July internationals. They were beaten 41 points to 12, but at times there were just those little moments where it kind of looked like Samoa were starting to find their rhythm. This was last year's Pacific Nations Cup. The Fijians able to take out this side of the pool. Pretty much what happens is Japan, USA, and Canada play each other. Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga do the same, and then the winners all face off in a semi-final. The top 2 go through to that, and then the winners, of course, play in that final where you do take out the Pacific Nations Cup. But hopefully that makes sense. Plenty of games still to come and plenty of action for this game taking place as well. We're going to lose to trash-ass Canada. The line-out is as bad as ever, says Bill. Yeah, so that game was extremely close the last time I checked. I haven't seen a score update since 14 points to 12, but I'll have a quick look now. See exactly how that one is sitting, but obviously Canada not doing too badly in that matchup. These two sides, I do want to know your score predictions, ladies and gents, for who you think will win this first game of the Pacific Nations Cup. Fiji come in as favourites for this match. We have there. Good afternoon, Hamish. Good to see or good to chat to you, says Kevin. And 25 for Tonga, 15 for the Samoans, says Kevin. And also the waving there from Robert. Hope you're doing well too, mate. Hey, let's go, Tonga. Well, that's the thing, like this Tongan side, Patrick Pellegrini has grown as a player so much throughout the last couple of years. You look at someone like a Lotu Anisi as well, and he just seems to be going from strength to strength. Now, they are missing those guys that were in the environment around the World Cup period. They do seem like they will lose those guys outside of the World Cup years, but still more than enough talent coming out of this Tongan side. Alongside, Moana Pacifica, we're seeing certain players like a Lotu Anisi really find his feet throughout that season as well. Is that Charles Piutau at 15 for Tonga? Says Matt, certainly is. So an experienced veteran for the Tongans. He's probably one of the only guys who actually does play for them throughout the off-season per se, or you know how, someone like, I don't want to throw any shots at players, but someone like a Malakai Fekitoa, Israel Folau, that was very short-lived, the amount of time that he was playing for the Tongans. Who else have they had throughout the season? They had about 3 or 4 guys come over, and then most of them disappeared as soon as, that kind of big money came from overseas. But Charles Piutau, he always tries to balance it. Kicked off now by Patrick Pellegrini, and we are underway for the Pacific Nations Cup Pool A for 2025. And huge tackle being made off the get-go from Fatuli Paia, unable to roll away, while I believe it was Samoa Mali trying to get that turnover, so the penalty goes the way of Samoa, just 20 metres out from their try line. We have got the, are you going to show the game or not? It's kick-off now, says Eric. So sadly, due to licensing, any match footage on any match footage on YouTube gets you taken straight off with a copyright strike and banned for the 3 months. So we are allowed to do the play-by-play commentary, but sadly are unable to show the match footage. But yeah, the best options for being able to watch it, if you're in New Zealand, it's on Sky. I believe Stan Sport also do have the licensing to be able to show it, but Samoa thrown to the back there, nicely taken by, I think it was Henry Taifu, who took quite the shot to the spine. We have got there far. What an asset for Tonga, says Matt. Yeah, and like I said, it's always great to see that outside of, the overseas big contracts, he still makes time to play for Tonga each and every time there's that gap. Did you know Warner Dearns is coming back to New Zealand next year? I did. An interesting one. I think he's still going to be looking to play international for Japan, though. That one's going to be a penalty for Samoa around the halfway line once again. Currently sitting 90 seconds into this contest, and already we have seen 2 penalties go against the Tongans here. We've got a new channel member in Lakal. Thank you very much. You would now have access to those emojis in the chat that you do see popping up every once in a while. Good luck to both teams, says Quinsell there. And Tonga gonna win. MMT baby, says Cepho there. And also the All Blacks are looking to build the best Type 5 in the world in the future, says Tanner there too. And come on, Tonga, says Bill. Did see someone ask if it's union or league. It is rugby union. Of course, in a league matchup, when these two sides play each other, there's just massive hits coming every which way. And I feel like this game will be a little bit similar. We will now see Samoa Mali to watch the throw-in of his opposite number here. Men that are slightly familiar with each other, but nicely taken by Samoa, sitting about 15 metres out from the Tongan try line. Michael Alaratoa asking for a penalty of some sort. Referee says get out of it. Now off to the right-hand side. A short ball from Henry Taifu. Oh, and a drop ball there from the Samoans. Not quite able to hang on to it for Taleni Su. It does mean now that Tonga do get themselves a scrum just inside of their own 22-metre line. Come on, Tonga, says Bill. That's the thing. At the moment, the other side of the draw, it is very close. Half-time in that game, 17 points to 17. Canada come in as slight underdogs. For this game, the Samoans were favourites, even though they're away from home. This is what happened last year when the two sides played. It was 43 points to 17 in favour of the Samoans. And it's a tricky one because, when Fiji are considered as such a favourite in this side of the group, the semi-finals is where the big match has to happen for these sides, as well as this game. Whoever wins this, I would say pretty much, unless something drastic happens, books themselves a spot through to the semi-final. And then that's when you have to beat either USA, Canada, or Japan. And if you can do that, you go through to that final of the Pacific Nations Cup. So both of these sides want to prove what they can do. Bentame Funa wanted to prove what he can do in that scrum. They've just said the living legend. He was one of those guys that for that Rugby World Cup 2023, he had every other side rooting for him. I know that in that game up against the South Africans, he earned a lot of Springbok supporters' respect in terms of what he was able to do for his side. We've got there go Manu, says Timo. And also, I'll do this later. I don't want to miss this game, thanks. Says Robert V. And also hold the ball blue. Says FBI. Yeah, a couple handling errors early. Couple penalties, though, against the Tongans. So it could be the battle of dropping the ball versus getting penalties, and that's going to be the advantage now at scrum time for Tonga, who will run it out from their own 22. Takelua going across to the left-hand side. That's a forward pass right into the hands of Charles Piatel, so they'll go back for the penalty. USA can beat anyone in the comp, but I can also see us lose every single game. Says Bill, it is a very tricky one, isn't it? Because for some of these sides, this is really their big chance. This is the big competition for them, because outside of like these matches, I don't know if Tonga have any matches confirmed for November that I can think of. In fact, there might be one. Maybe they're playing Scotland. I think I remember that from the July internationals. I have a quick look, see what we can find. But they have very limited games outside of this competition. So, you know, they have to make the most of this chance. I'd love to see them play up against some of those lower ranked sides, even if it's someone who is way below in the rankings, but then there's that risk-reward factor. Oh, that's an interesting line-out set piece, but they will go short side. Saula Mali, close to the sideline, manages to step back into the left and sitting 15 metres out from the line. The Tongans had the ball, but it was a steal in the breakdown from Samoa illegally, says the ref. And it is going to be the penalty now for the Tongans. They have the opportunity to either kick for the corner or go for a tricky three, but they do play Scotland in 92 days, Tonga. For the Samoans, they have got Italy in 91 days. But at the moment, only one match confirmed for both of these sides. Ramphilly Shell game is on right now. That is true. Taranaki going head-to-head with Waikato. I wasn't sure whether or not to give updates on that one, just in case people wanted to watch it afterwards. But Saula Mali just managing to dodge that touchline by half an inch there. Watched very closely by the touch judge. Where's the game streaming? So they have got it on Sky Sport here in New Zealand. I believe it's on Stan Sport in Australia. And then outside of that, I sadly don't think there's too many other options. In fact, that might be a lie. Maybe Rugby Pass TV might have it. So I'd recommend checking that out as well. Tawhatawhanawa never gets to play. Yeah, he's had very limited minutes. I thought that they'd go with him off the bench rather than Quintupaia, but yeah, sadly, Timothy just not getting those minutes he would have been after, going off to the left-hand side here for Tonga. They sit 5 metres out from Samoa's line, trying to get that steal in the breakdown from Talini Su. Angus Gardner keeping a close eye on them, making sure that Samoa do not end up giving away any penalties. Bentame Funa helping his teammate over the line, and Tonga strike first in this contest. 7 minutes in, and the Tongans will be the first team to score, and there's a little bit of push and shove afterwards as well. It was just the power on the arm. Bentame Funa, I believe it was actually Moala who managed to cross the try line. But just a big bit of power coming from Tonga. Tonga favourites, they were underdogs, but they're probably favourites now with the way they've been able to score that try. A live link from Tonga. Maybe Rugby Pass TV. I'd recommend checking that out. I know that for us here in New Zealand, that's not an option because we have got the broadcaster in Sky. But perhaps for locations that don't have it available, Rugby Pass TV may have it. But if they don't, it's a big shame because this is the type of competition that everyone does enjoy. Oh, yeah, it does say Rugby Pass TV is one of the broadcasters. So it should be on there, I believe. But the kick has gone over from Patrick Pellegrini. So the Tongans will lead 7-0 in this matchup here. And that is exactly the start that they would have been after. But Moala just ragdolled around by his teammate Tame Funa as he bulldozed, or pretty much pulled him and bulldozed him over that try line. Now, chance to kick off here for the Samoans will be AJ Alatimu in that number 10 jersey today. Kicking off high. And into the 22. Did you see Southland Stags won back-to-back games for the first time in 11 years? Yeah, I saw them get the big win on Thursday night. They weren't supposed to, but yeah, they're starting to fire up this season. It is fantastic to see. Nice one, Tonga, says Quinzel. And us in Japan on September 22nd. So here's Robert. That one's going to be kicked downfield, cleared towards the halfway line, but now Samoa able to run it back with Olangi Vizier. Last time that we saw that man in action, it was actually in the Classic All Blacks versus Classic Taniwha game. That did take place a couple months ago. Now trying to get the steal on the breakdown. Finney Anisi told to get out of that one. Samoa keep that handling strong. Breaking through just that little bit further was Petelo Mapu, but the penalty will go the way of the Tongans. And it is Ben Tame Funa who gets in, wins the steal. Sean with the AB's next year turret, says Islanders fan. You see, it's going to be tricky, though, for someone like a Sean Withy, because you got to remember there are so many loose forwards at the moment in the All Blacks setup. And, unless there's injuries, I just don't see them going further out than this group that they've got. Maybe if Simon Parker doesn't work out or Peter Lakai doesn't get many minutes, maybe that's when they look at another option. But I think for now they've found their six. So it's whether or not Sean Withy can fit in somewhere else in that loose forward trio. But yeah, very talented player. Nice penalty won by the Tongans in that breakdown. Now sitting about 25 metres out from the line. It will be the throw for the Tongans and Saulamari. They did try a sneaky set piece. That wasn't very straight, but Samoa did not throw a man up. So it does mean it will be play on for Tulipai. A crashing run towards the Samoan defence. Sitting down the defence this time was Fisiahoi. Now Takalua across to the left-hand side. I have to say, it's weird not seeing Sam Lausi in that Tongan locking duo. And also no Via Fafita for this match, unfortunately, either. So Olamari will play halfback, goes off to the left-hand side. Moala, the try scorer, the lone try scorer at the stage of the match. Now Pellegrini plays half, looking for the offload was Charles Piatel. Got it into the hands of the left winger, and that one will just be knocked on by the Tongans, which means 10 metres out from the line. Samoa will have themselves their scrum, but they have been under pressure throughout this first 11 minutes or so, definitely coming in as the favourites for this matchup. But a sit down there from Fisiahoi, getting rid of Anea Sui. And the nice offload coming from Charles Piatel out on the wing. And then just the knock on from Harrison Mataeli at the end. But I don't think this game at the moment is going the way that it was supposed to. I mentioned about it last year. There we go. There's a stat. Samoa have won each of their last 6 test matches against Tonga. Now, a couple of those have been in Tonga as well. So it's not exactly the fact that they're the away side here that could cause the problem. But Tonga looking really strong at the moment fundamentally throughout the early stages. Couple quick penalties against them, but it seems like after that they have got it a little bit more right. Their scrum looks strong too with Tame Funa at the front. Now Samoa running it off the back of the scrum, getting it to Henry Taiafu, and now rolling it back will be Milani Matavao into the pocket. And Alafipo, or in fact Alatimo, I should say, has to clear the lines. Doesn't get a huge amount of meterage on that one, so it means that Tonga will have the attacking chance 22 metres out from the try line. This seems like, once again, a little bit of strategic planning coming here from Tonga. We'll go like that and like that as well. There we go. Oh, for a second, I was just checking to see if Rugby Pass had this game streaming, and they did have something streaming, but it's the 24/7 of rugby matches that they've got streaming on their channel at the moment. But on the Rugby Pass TV website, I believe it should be an option according to the broadcast. That's how you're watching the game. I am watching on Sky Sport here in New Zealand, but the other options that you've got are Rugby Pass TV. That seems to be the best option for being able to watch it at this current point in time. Or also maybe Stan Sport, although I do think that Stan Sport may have dropped the coverage after there was no Australia A. It's a little bit of a throwback. A few years ago, we did have the Pacific Nations Cup with the Aussies, kind of Australia XV in it. But now ready to feed this ball in. Milani Matavao. So the line out was not quite successful from Tonga. Matavao digging around for that one in the scrum. Henry Taiafu again will run the flat line straight at his opposite number for Tulipaia. Little bit of a counter ruck coming from Tonga. Milani Matavao having to retreat, and he's been crushed by Fisiahoi. And again, another clearing kick from AJ Alatimu. This seems like it's only biding time at the moment. Samoa either need a big penalty or a big steal to be able to waylay some of this extra pressure. Already 14 minutes through. It is a game that will absolutely fly by, and for Samoa, that clock will be ticking even faster because they are behind 62% possession at the moment for Tonga here. 55% territory as well. They're just playing a smart game here, the home side. Now the line out, so Ulamai goes to the front, little pop pass back to him. Takalua on the inside. Looks like Mully's going to go himself. He actually sat down one of these Samoan defenders. Looks like he has got back up to his feet, but a massive steal there for the Samoans. And that is that crucial moment there. I believe it was Aki Seuli who got in and managed the steal. And lucky this just came up. Cheers for doing this game, Hamish. Much appreciated. Says Nars Williams. No worries at all. We are hoping to do quite a bit of the Pacific Nations Cup next week. It's a bit more likely that we should be able to do both games, whereas today, because USA and Canada, it actually overlaps with this game. So we could only do one of them, so decided to do this match. I'll tell you what though, brilliant game of rugby by the looks of it between USA and Canada. That score currently 20 points to 20 in the second half, so it could easily go either way. Yellow card for Taranaki, close line tackle. Says Islanders fan, that will be another penalty going the way of Samoa, dragging down the man in the line out. That Tongan discipline that they did keep for a good 10 minutes has just disintegrated with a couple quick fire penalties for Manu Samoa. Just looking out on the wing, Tuna Tuitama, he hasn't even touched the ball as of yet, and he is one of the most dangerous threats out there on the field for the Samoans. They've got Nanai at number 13. We haven't seen too much of his hands on the ball as of yet. Langi Vizinier, just that one run from the back too. This is where they can start building phases though for the Samoans. Start to get something going. I mentioned these are not the only games that we are doing today. We've also got the Rugby Championship that will be taking place at 2 a.m. New Zealand time that we are starting to build up for that contest. So be sure, keep an eye out for that. And then alongside that, we have then got Argentina, New Zealand. And then tomorrow I am hoping to do the Curry Cup as well as the Women's World Cup match between New Zealand and the Spanish, going in a little bit too high there. Tuna Tuitama makes the tackle on Charles Piatel. Bit of a counter ruck from Samoa. Takalua getting dragged in. Now needing to find another halfback for the Tongans. To the left-hand side, Moala still the lone try scorer in this matchup. Yet to have anyone join him on that list. I use my double captain in fantasy on South Africa 10 and Will Jordan. Says Highlanders, so you're going with Andre Pollard. In that case, beautifully looked at there. I thought he had taken it, but it actually dislodged when he was trying to regather on the ground. It looks like the ball's still on the side of Samoa only just. And Tame Funa, in fact, gets the win in the breakdown again. Another penalty for that man. And now more push and shove between these two Pacific Island sides. I think one of the Tongan players ended up underneath a whole heap of people there. That looks like he's all right. Just another Saturday. Big decision here for Tonga. It looks like Patrick Pellegrini has said he wants to go for the post here. We have got there, hold on, re-say that, chucking on my alarms for every game, says Naz. So, South Africa versus Australia, it does start at 3:10 a.m. kickoff, but we are starting at 2 a.m. So, whether or not you want to listen to that build-up or whether that will put you back to sleep before the start of the game. But yeah, the game itself kicking off at 3:10. And then also the Argentina-New Zealand game, we are starting at 8, but it's starting at 9:10. So we've got an hour, 10 minutes build-up for both matches. It seemed like the magic number on last week's streams. By the time we went through all the stats and went through the chat, by the time it was kickoff, it felt like about 10 minutes of chatting. Iowa win, Red Roses or Pyle High School. Probably don't know either of them enough, to be honest, but that kick's gone over from Patrick Pellegrini, so that is now going to make the score 10 points to 0 in favour of the Tongans. Roberts, it's on Paramount Plus. Says Bill there, and thank you, Bill. Says Robert. And just have a fight, Usos, to get on with it. That would be a big fight, though. And you build up articulate and intelligent. They good. Others I fall asleep, says Naz. And it is greatly appreciated. Sometimes we go off on a random tangent, but I do think that makes the time go quicker as well. But yeah, a lot of anticipation around the two games coming up this weekend. And then we've got that week away from the championship and then straight back into that New Zealand versus South Africa massive game that is coming around the corner to Lalangi Vizinier. Takes that ball around the halfway line. A good kick from Patrick Pellegrini, who exited his own 22 with it. Samoa, another line-out chance. 10-0 though in this game. Samoa starting to struggle a little bit, was third highest point scorer in the 2024 Pacific Nations Cup with 26 points. And both teams play hard for the country. Absolutely. You can see the passion in the national anthems too. These two sides have come to play. I enjoy the rants and engagement with commenters personally. Says Vroom Vroom It's Razor. And that's the thing, like, sometimes, depending on the stream, it doesn't seem to matter whether it's an international game or a random URC or Curry Cup game. This is a bit ugly from Tonga, only sitting about a metre out from their line. They're being driven back in, and it will be a 5-metre scrum here for the Samoans. But, you know, some people don't like the fact that we talk to the comments, and that's okay. Like, there are other options out there in terms of just pure commentary. Like, radio-style commentary, I don't think is too hard to find. But, you know, the difference with the talking, oh, they're going to check this one here for a high shot, I believe. But, like, it's different. And it's different in a good way because, you know, it's literally you guys get to watch the game with me. Like, in terms of I talk about the game or you guys are watching it, or, you know, people just engaging in the chat. I actually just had a realization, ladies and gentlemen. I am not meaning to show bias at all, and this is a pure coincidence. I've been wearing this hoodie since yesterday. But it's a Tongan one. It's the Tongan Rugby League hoodie from the Rugby World Cup. They did have like a massive sale at the end of that Rugby League World Cup, and I ended up buying a whole heap of hoodies. I think I've got one for the Cook Islands as well, one for France. But accidentally, I seem like I'm going for Tonga here, and I did not mean for it to be that way. It's going to be a high tackle here, so it isn't actually turning into a 5-metre scrum, but instead will be the penalty going against the Samoans. But yeah, I find that the chat is what makes these live streams so much fun and so unique. There's been a negative history with Samoa and Tongans not starting in Otara, Auckland. Ignited back in the days. However, 2025 it's improved and get along better. Says Nas. That one's gone into touch. 9 penalties already throughout the first 21 minutes. That's a little bit high. 5 against Samoa. 4 against the Tongans. I thought Lima Sopawanga played for Samoa these days. He's actually been playing for Waikato. Ended up getting that last-minute try when they did beat Auckland in round number 1 of the Bunnings NPC. After that, though, picking up an injury, so that's why he's out, but he wasn't actually selected in the Samoan squad. Sadly, he's a little bit similar to some of the other guys that I mentioned at the start, how they'll join when the World Cup's coming around, but outside of that, they don't play for their country too often. And that is a shame because these two sides would be a lot stronger. See there, I think it was Samuel Slade and Leva Fafita. They were just rolling next to the breakdown. Got through about 3 or 4 rolls still attached to each other there, but both smiling while it happened. Kicked into touch by Tonga. Good clearing one from Sonatane Takalua. It's the highest cap player for Tonga with 58. It just tells you that Tonga aren't playing enough games. Because a player with his experience and his time that he spent in the Tongan kit, like this is since 2024, he should be closer to about 80 or 90 by now. Another line out has worked out for the Samoans round the halfway line. Tanleni Su goes across the Matava with the skip pass now, finding Nanai. Wrestled down and some big shots coming in the breakdown. Off to the left, Malani Matavao. They're going to get it into the hands of Tuna Tuitama. As soon as they do that, there might be a line break. He's just that dangerous of a player. Has deceptive strength. Like, he looks strong, and then he runs the ball and he breaks off and through guys that you think he shouldn't be able to. He tried to catch that ball, but Fatuli Paya wins the aerial battle, thrown away by Patrick Pellegrini. And then a knock on there from Elani Nanai. Does bring the scrum for the Tongan. David Havili might be a Tongan international in a few years. Maybe. His brother William Havili has had a few caps for Tonga in the past. But I don't know about David Havili. I feel like he may be in the outskirts of his career, but it depends on when the World Cups are. Like, that's the sad reality of it, is outside of the World Cups, a lot of the guys don't even look at Tonga or Samoa as their options. And then as soon as the World Cup comes around, they go, oh, I'd like to play. But then because of that experience and because of the skill level of those guys, they are going to get thrown straight back in. But I always feel sorry for those players that have committed for the 4 years outside of a World Cup and then they get dropped because a veteran decides they want to come back. But then it does also bring that team sometimes to the next level. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword in that regard. This is a solid scrum here. Samoa almost getting the advantage in it in the end. Good flat run forward from Solomoni Kata. Takalua back across to Patrick Pellegrini. Gets it into the hands now. A long way off the wing for Tepuelelelu, whose name I butchered there a little bit. And I was going to say Takalua straight afterwards. Now Charles Piatau does play as the halfback. Gets it across to Moala. Guess what? He's still the only man who has been able to score a try in this contest. I like that it makes the Pacific Island Nation teams become all-star teams. Tonga signing Folau, Lamape, etc. Says the Razor now, little chip in behind, goes into touch. See, they could have really used Ngāti Lamape for this Pacific Nations Cup competition. You know, someone like him could have added a lot to the side. He has had a stand-down period with New Zealand Rugby. Instead playing for the Manawatu Turbos in the Bunnings NPC. And Taranaki 10 and 15 combo could easily be the ABs. I assume that's Josh Jacob and Jacob Ratamaitafuki Nepkins, isn't it? Or at least that's who they normally would go with. As at 9 and 10, that one's going to be loose. Taken by Samoa. Big Takalua reaches out and scores the try. It was a little bit scrappy. I think they'll check for knock-ons in the line-out. But if it's all cleared, it's another try. And it's the most experienced head out there on the field for Tonga in Takalua. Yeah, I meant future ABs. Says Islanders. Takalua's 17th international try by Waikato lead 3-0. And yeah, that game between USA and Canada is still sitting 20 points to 20. And we must be getting close to the end of that fixture. See there, the last time anyone got any sort of points was in the 45th minute. Oh no, Canada just scored. My apologies. Ardron just got one right then. Takalua doing very well to just keep an eye on this ball with how it's bouncing. That to me almost was a knock-on from Tonga at that line out, but regathered and they score now. Patrick Pellegrini have the chance to add the extra two. Tonga are doing very nicely here. That kick's gone over from Pellegrini as well, who's really been an X-Factor style player here for this Tongan side. I think Tavatava Nawai is like Lamape, but with a little less boomfa, but more jackal. Says it's Razor there. Yeah, because that's the thing, like Tamofi Tavatava Nawai, when you look at his stats, right, he bet 73 defenders in Super Rugby Pacific, which was many more than anyone else. But, like, people still don't consider him as like a dangerous ball runner in a weird way. And I don't understand it sometimes because, like, literally that's a lot of players that he's run through. Definitely in the amount of games. We've got to remember the Highlanders had like 2 less games than anyone else. Sorry to say it, Highlanders fan, but they got knocked out early. But, drop ball there from Tonga. That won't help. Now give Samoa the scrum opportunity. But 17-0 down at the moment for the Samoan team. You know what, I might have to wear this for the Tonga versus Tonga versus Fiji game as well, mate. I just quickly checked another channel before I found you. Or before found out you were doing this. Trust me, your pronunciation's respectful and excellent. Really respect that. Sure many countries who watch you do. Says Nas Williams. And I'll be honest, the French names are still the ones that get me. They were the tricky ones. But yeah, overall, I try my best to get them right. And the ones that I get wrong, I'm more than happy to correct. And that might be one of the slight differences. Like some people, if you tell them that's not how you say it, they'll go, but then they'll still say it the way that's wrong. Whereas we do try our best to get those little tweaks right. We won 3 games the whole season. Says Highlanders fan. Is that Tyler Ardron, former Chiefs prop, I think? Yep, I believe it is. He also had a stint in, where was he playing? Was he in Japan for a little bit, playing rugby? Oh, nicely done by Samoa, who will now sit about 13 metres out from the try line, but a knock on the ground. The handling errors at the moment are costing the Manu Samoans big time, and Tonga are just taking their chances when they come around. 28 minutes through. I just heard Angus Gardner say to one of the Tongan players, "You might be right." He plays for the Arrows, I think. Says, vroom, vroom, it's Razor. Oh, yeah, he might be in the MLR, is he? Rather than in Japan. Did he have a stint in Japan, or am I thinking of someone else? We're going to have a quick Google while we've got a scrum going down. Tyler Ardron, Canadian rugby player. Where's he been? Oh, Castres is the location. So he's actually been in France rather than in Japan. And that's from 2020 to now. Oh, that actually, his Wikipedia hasn't been updated for like 3 years though. So to be fair, he might not actually still be in France. And Hamish, how do you think, or how do you want to think? How will New Zealand go? Well, I did go quite close in my preview. I ended up going 38-31 in favour of New Zealand, but there is a chance that we see a runaway for the Kiwis. Like, I think that my prediction might have been a little bit generous to Argentina, but at the same time, I do respect what that side can do, and when they're playing well, which I hope they will for the second match, they can be extremely dangerous. It's just very hard to know what you're going to get with a Argentine side. Possession at the moment, it's gone right back in favour of the Tongans. 64% possession, 60% territory at this stage of the match. We're currently 30 minutes in. Tonga chasing that bonus point, which we will quickly check and confirm how they get it. In this competition, you get 1 bonus point for scoring 4 or more tries. So it is not like the Rugby Championship, how you have to have 3 or more tries than your opposition. Massive scrum there from Samoa, and they must have all but got that penalty. But on the ball, Malani Matavao wins the penalty. That is from that Sevens experience, getting in those breakdowns one-on-one. But now Samoa, this is an easy chance for 3 if they want it. Should also mention that Canada are starting to run away with that game up against the US. 34 points to 20. 2 quick tries, 1 for Ardron, 1 for Nelson. We're going to see the replay there. Takalua running straight at Malani Matavao and down 14 to Canada with 17 minutes left. Embarrassing. So here's Bill. It's definitely not the performance that this USA side would have liked to have. When was the last time that they played? They played in July, didn't they, the USA? If I remember rightly, we'll try and get this loaded up, but it's going to be AJ Alatimu. Scored 93 points for Counties Manukau in the Bunnings NPC, and good game Tonga. They've been looking really strong in this game, but the biggest concern for me is that they're going to look strong here, and then in their game up against Fiji, they're just not going to be on the same level. That's happened before, and it would be a shame because I actually think if they play like this up against the Fijians, they could be quite close. Canterbury Women lead 35-0 after just 19 minutes. That is quite the one-sided affair. And your last game was versus England. That's right. They had their game up against the English. And then also, who else did they play? A couple European teams, I think. I want to say Belgium. Did they play Belgium in July? And maybe Spain? I feel like if that's right, I've just pulled that out of absolutely nowhere. For some reason, I think they played Belgium. But we'll find out. I'm sure someone will know. I think 2025 has been the year of the Sevens players breaking through. Countries should look to create better relationships with their Sevens programs. Could be something very beneficial. Says vroom vroom. And someone mentioned Samoa easy, and I added Samoa 13 plus in the South African game this morning. In the South African game this morning. Oopsie. For now, says Nas. I'll be honest, I said that I thought Tonga would be competitive, but I felt like maybe Samoa would get it in the end. But at the moment, Tonga have been more than competitive. They've been very strong throughout this first little while. Sitting down, the opposition was Seola Mai running off to the left-hand side now. Ball in the hands of Solomoni Kata. Yeah, Belgium and Spain. I was at both those games, says Bill. Well, there we go. Now off to the right-hand side. That old stutter step there from Fatuli Pai. Gets it on the outside to Finia Nisi, who gets a good offload, one more. And now 5 metres out from the line, Sanatane Takaloa trying to get the steal on the breakdown for the Samoans, and they will win it. That is a crucial steal when they were just about to concede again. And Sunday Rugby go the All Blacks tomorrow. Yes, here's Reid. Yeah, it'll be intriguing to see how they go in the contest. Penalty in at the side is the penalty against the Tongans here. They've just seen quite a bit happen in that breakdown. Side entry against the Tongans as they were trying to keep that ball on their side. But Fatuli Pai just manages to draw in the defender. Timed the pass perfectly to Finney and Nisi, and that was all but going to be try number 2 for Sanatane Takaloa. It was a good steal initially. Now Samoa have got themselves the line out, sitting 25 metres out from their line, nicely taking Malani Matavao. Going off to the right-hand side. To 34 minutes. And this contest, loose ball, trying to jump on it there with Tonga, but I think it will just stay on the side of the Manu Samoans. Yes, it does. Fatuli Pai is another name I remember. Highlanders, I think. Says Vroom Vroom. He certainly was. And then also before then, the Crusaders, I believe. If I remember right, he was a Crusader. Then he signed for the Highlanders and actually got injured in pre-season for the Highlanders versus Crusaders match, and then didn't play for pretty much all of the first season that he signed with the Highlanders. Now I think he's up in Europe, isn't he? I think he's with one of those sides. I'm going to have to look at that now. It's quite fun looking through at all these players in terms of where they've ended up. I want to say he was at like either Zebre or Benetton. No, maybe not Benetton, but somewhere up there. Dragons at the moment is where he's playing. But he was at Zebre from 2023 to 2025. So he hasn't actually played a game for the Dragons as of yet. We'll go like that. We'll get there, turn the camera around for a little bit. That would get me taken straight off YouTube. But Rugby Pass TV, if you know how to get onto that website, they are apparently streaming the match for free. All you need is your email address. You put it in and then you'll be sorted to be able to watch the game live. Looks like Fatuli Pai, after the penalty is awarded to the Tongans, they will go for an extra 3-pointer here. And Hamish, how come you never wear any pants during your lives? Just the jumper. Says Optimus. I don't know about that. I have got, actually, believe it or not, I've got long pants on today. It was a bit chillier this morning. But I mentioned about it earlier on. It was an accident, but I am actually wearing a Tongan Rugby League jersey. That's gone over. It's nicely done by Tonga. 20 points to 3 now in front of the home crowd. Last time that they had a match was actually Moana Pacifica versus the Chiefs. Doing very nicely here for the home crowd. I love looking into rugby law, says Vroom Vroom It's Razor. But yeah, you just end up learning quite a bit in terms of where the players go. Because honestly, here in New Zealand, when a guy goes overseas, with the fact that I covered the URC on the channel, normally we have a rough idea where some guys end up. But when they go to France, then they go to Japan, most of the coverage over here in New Zealand's a little bit limited. Unless you're really looking for it. Fatuli Pai, another offload on the outside. Finds pretty an easy ball to Solomoni Kata. He's got the man with him. Takalua drawing pass, going back to Fatuli Pai. And stolen by Malani Matavao. He will kick it in behind. He's absolutely smashed. And it will be the penalty now. Awarded in favour of Samoa. Okay. I just never think you're wearing any pants because I only ever see your top half. Says Optimus. And there as well. Yeah, to be fair, the one time that you guys saw my bottom half, I was wearing shorts. But that was because I was reaching over for a phone charger that was a bit further away than I wanted it to be. In fact, that was a live stream where I was watching the game on my iPad because TVNZ here in New Zealand decided not to show the game. So the iPad was all but dead. We did have to get that charger going. Looks like Samoa, I'm not sure about this choice. I understand it a little bit, don't get me wrong. But they're going for the 3. 17 points down. Couple minutes remaining in the half, so I guess they just want to break up this play. But they are going to leave themselves a mountain to climb in the second 40 minutes. And it just, I don't know, it seems like there's a lack of attacking, I guess, flair at the moment from Samoa with the fact that they're just trying to take the easy, or the 3 points. I won't even call it easy. It's a relatively tough kick here for AJ Alatimu. It's 45 metres out on an angle. I would have thought you'd kick for the corner every day of the week here. Strikes the ball. Does get it over, so that is at least half the battle there for Samoa, but they will still be down by 2 converted tries. With plenty of ground still to be made. Okay, they're saying there, the context of the game, it is massive for Samoa to get those 3 points. Just wonder whether or not if Tonga get themselves another quick try here, you know, you're in a tricky predicament heading into that second 40 minutes, 5-3 to Taranaki, 10 minutes to play in the first half, says Highlanders fan. And Optimus come on, says Nars Williams. That will be the penalty going the way of Samoa. Tonga cleaning the player out in the air. Ben Nini landing pretty awkwardly. We have good there. I know my question seems sus, but I'm married to a woman, mate, says Optimus. That's going to be foul play against Saula Mali. Sitting 8 penalties against the Tongans in this first half. That could be their downfall in this contest. The amount of times that they have been penalised throughout this 38 minutes. Getting it now into touch. I am curious about the odds for this game, actually, because heading into it, big underdogs in terms of the Tongans. Well, maybe not massive underdogs, but still, you know, it wasn't that close in terms of those odds. Whereas in this scenario, it's not going too badly at the moment for the Tongan side. 14 points up. Oh, accidental knockdown there from Halafanoa. And that's actually going to be half-time. So I don't think Tonga would have minded that extra 3 points. All good, bro, no judgment. Taranaki keeps making mistakes in the 22. Here's Highlanders fan. And also, can we please see the game where the ABs don't get carded? Yes, see, they're already leading in terms of cards throughout this rugby championship competition. I honestly think Sam Slade, not very good. He is above average for counties, poor for Moana, poor for Tonga, in my opinion, says Vroom Vroom, although he does play for Samoa. So I guess him being poor for Tonga, yeah. We have got there Whailangi, as said the Samoan flags, and go red, says Tina. Yeah, an eventful first half. 20 points to 6, Tonga leading. Samoa, says it's Razor. Yeah, currently Samoa are $6 underdogs in this game. That's an intriguing one, because I do feel like maybe, don't get me wrong, that's a big margin, 14 points. But it's not impossible. You know, if Samoa can get on a bit of a tear, that'd be all right. We have got there who won the USA games, this Highlanders fan. It was still going, although Canada got themselves a 14-point lead with about 10 minutes to go. So I do think that they potentially should have been able to take it out. But I'll have a quick look. The Tonga team look very mature. Samoa team look very young, in my opinion. Yeah, there's a nice composure about Tonga in this match, isn't there? In terms of that set piece even, they just seem like they're doing well. They're not making a huge amount of mistakes with ball in hand. They are giving away a huge amount of penalties. There's no denying that. We have good there. I met Sam Slade in person the other day. Says LA 10's there. And also we have good there who won the USA. Hopefully it will load. At the moment it doesn't want to, which is very unfortunate. But we'll see if we can get it up before, hopefully, halftime. And we have good there. I met Doug Howlett. And Samoa says Tavoyo there in terms of who he thinks might be able to take this game out in the second half. So Canada winning 34 points to 20. And I would say they've only got a matter of minutes remaining in that one. Are you showing the game too, bro? I am not, but Rugby Pass TV apparently is. Which is an option for anyone outside of New Zealand or somewhere that already has a broadcasting option. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. It is free, and also all you need is your email and you'll be all sorted. So, okay, my phone died. And he gave me a lift back home. Says LA 10s. Well, that was very nice of him. And mate, Manu Samoans, I have a lot of guys who refuse to make themselves available due to the big wigs running the rugby, whereas Tonga, got a lot of experience available today. I said that exact same thing about 10 minutes into the game. I said that for Samoa, the amount of players that seem to only like to jump in and play for them for World Cups rather than playing for them in internationals is actually quite sad. Like for Tonga, for instance, we mentioned about it. You've got Charles Piutau, a guy who, he doesn't have to play for Tonga. He's got more than enough experience. He can make more than enough money overseas, but he decides to stick around. We have there, what is the site called again, bro? Thank you, I'm in the USA. USA is a tricky one because I think it's on Paramount Plus if you're in the US. But I'll have a quick look, see whether or not I can find anything out about Rugby Pass TV in terms of whether it's going to be available on there for the US. Highlights and replays. I think for us here in New Zealand, it's not available. But what we'll do is we'll go like that. And we'll go like, one moment. Like that. That is the link that should take you to the main page. And then you'll learn pretty quickly whether or not it's available for you where you are in the world. I believe they're actually showing... Are they showing the Women's World Cup on there? Maybe not. I think they're just showing some of the recent fixtures as an option. Thanks, brother. Says Monster. No worries at all. I've met a Samoa, Joe Pikatoa, Joel Heinz, Peter Lakai. You've got Proctor in there, Umanga Jensen, Alex Fidel. Says it's Razor. So quite a list in there to raise a mean mate. Says Nards Williams. And my only worry as a Fiji fan is that majority of our best players have gone back to Europe. Tonga could beat us. Honestly, it could happen. Like this Tongan side, if they play like this, minus the penalty count, I think that the penalty count will destroy them if they don't get that under control. Definitely in those more important games in terms of a semi-final, because if they win this game, then they are pretty much through to that semi, unless something really drastic does happen. And Samoa versus Tonga, says Davale there. It's been eventful so far, first half, 20 points to 6 is the way that it currently sits. Looking through at the half-time break, the benches for this contest. Sam Molly off the bench for the Tongans. They have also got some pretty handy options in terms of that physicality in the four-pack for the Samoans. They've got Letero Tole as that replacement hooker option. Alofipo, Rodney Yona, Jack Lamb there too. Alo Juan Noah. I do think that Samoa, in my opinion, have got the advantage off the bench. So that is maybe why we saw Samoa not so keen to go for the corner, instead just take 3-pointers when available, because they do know that they've got plenty of talent that later on in a game could completely change the outcome. But these are also the games coming up of the Pacific Nations Cup, ladies and gentlemen. Next week it will be Fiji versus Tonga. That is the 3 p.m. game on Saturday. We will be covering that one on the channel. 8 p.m, Japan versus Canada. I'd quite like to cover that game if it is available here in New Zealand. And then Samoa, Fiji, followed by USA versus Japan. I've just realized something that's really annoying. That game overlaps with the Rugby Championship, doesn't it? That would overlap with Argentina versus Australia. Why would they do that? I know that Australia are playing, I believe it's 4 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. in fact. So what are we going to do there? I hadn't even thought about that up until now, but now I'm quite sad about it, because that means that we have to decide between Fiji versus Samoa or Argentina versus Australia in the Rugby Championship competition. Who came up with these schedules? And then that USA-Japan game is earlier, but that's the next day, so that won't overlap with anything, so that's ideal, but that's an annoying one. We have there, Rico is the worst All Black to meet. I don't even tell people I met him, he is mean. Says Vim it's Razor. And exactly, it's a sad state of affairs for Samoa Rugby at the moment. And also the fact that they just don't have many games. They have one in July up against Scotland. They have one up against Italy in November. If they had a longer schedule, 10, or maybe not 15, but, 10 to 12 games a year for Samoa, a lot more of those international players might get drawn back in. But, it's just that comparison of, would you rather play one game for your country or play a whole season overseas and get paid the big bucks? And a lot of people select that second option. And we have got there, USA is losing to Canada. Looks like it will be Samoa versus USA in the 5th place playoff, which probably wasn't predicted at the start of the competition, I'll be honest. We have Gideon Pulu, Curry, Lamb, and Yona. Where do all those guys come from? North. So it's a little bit of a mix. A few Moana Pacifica guys are thrown in there. But also, a few NPC guys as well, who of course are playing in the NPC for this season. Aussie Arrogant and Cocky says Nas about Rico, and we have got a new member on the channel. It is Joe Naitoko. Thank you very much for hitting that membership button. You now have access to those emojis that you are seeing flying by in the chat. And isn't Samoa's squad also stacked with some players who played previously a few years ago, half a new debuts. So, yeah, it's not the strongest Samoan team. Some of those guys that we saw taking part in that Rugby World Cup, someone like a Ben Lamb, he's not there. Lima Sopawanga, he's not playing for them. In fact, what we can do is I'll actually look through at that Samoan squad from the Rugby World Cup and tell you who else is missing. But they've got quite a few guys who sadly are not with the team at this point in time. One moment, we'll click hopefully here with a little bit of luck. If it's going to behave itself, there we go. Right. So the Samoan players that they haven't got for this game, we won't list absolutely all of them, of course, but no Ed Fidel, no D'Angelo Leula, Sama Malolo, I don't think I said off the bench, did I? For the side, Lima Sopawanga, Jordan Taufua, Paul Alo Amili, Alamanda Matanga. They've also not got Ben Lamb, no Iritara Ineri, Chris Vui, Fritz Lee, Jordan Lay, Duncan Paiua, Jonathan Tamatine, Stephen Luatua, Naria Fomai, Christian Liliafano. So there's a list and a half. Charlie Famawina even not there for them. And also no Miracle Whailangi at the moment. He has opted to play in the NPC rather than playing for Samoa. So that kind of tells you the state of affairs at the moment, that a player would rather play NPC rugby than play for their country. Well, okay, there, let's go Samoa, says Annie. And to be fair, he did score a try yesterday in the NPC, so, he's going well, but it's just a bit of a shame, really. But then when the World Cup comes around, he'll say, yep, I'm keen. Sign me up, Samoa. We have there, let's go Tonga. Win or lose Tonga, and people will celebrate. C.A.S. Quinzel there, let's go Tonga, and also let's go Samoa, says Annie. And halftime in the Shield game is 5-3 to Taranaki. Are there any World Cup intentions on the line for this game? Luckily not. This one more so for the Pacific Nations Cup. Maybe a bit to do with the rankings in terms of where sides do sit. In fact, that's a very probably important thing to look at. World Rugby Rankings calculator. But both of these sides are expected to be at that next Rugby World Cup. And I think one of them might automatically qualify because of how high they finished in their group. I think Samoa, if I'm correct, have already qualified. But in this case, Samoa would drop to 14th in the world rankings if this was the way that it sat at the end. If Tonga win this game by a bigger margin, Tonga will go up 3 spaces and move to 16th in the world, moving from 19th. Even if they just win this game by any margin, they go up to 17th. Heading up from 19th. So a little bit on the line there. Could drop USA and Portugal after that result from Canada-USA's contest. Let's go Raiders, says the truth hurts. And thanks, bro. Love from the US. So yeah, is Annie there? No worries at all. And yeah, we are hopefully going to be back for plenty more of this Pacific Nations Cup. Other than, of course, now I've learned that there's an overlap for this competition and Argentina versus Australia, which is very annoying. We have got there, yes, there are no World Cup intentions. No, Samoa has not qualified. Oh, did they not finish third in their group? I know it went England, Argentina. Who was third in that Rugby World Cup pool? Because I'm sure top 3 automatically qualify. Or is it top 4 automatically? I think it's top 3, though. I feel like, did Japan sneak them in the end? In terms of qualification? Maybe the Japanese got in there in third. Yeah, Japan got them by a little bit. So that's the qualification for the Japanese. We have got their climb big step, says Senituli. And also, bro, that strange break to pass on to score. The winning try last night was bad, if you mean Canberra. Now Japan was third, says Robert T. And also we have got the Samoa from Yasu. and there as well. But now second half, I would say, is only a minute or two away. Like I mentioned, still games to come in this Pacific Nations Cup. Fiji versus Tonga next week. Japan versus Canada also taking place. And then Samoa versus Fiji alongside USA versus Japan. The week after that, we will get to see the semi-finals. And then the week after that, it is the final of this competition. But a lot of intrigue around what could happen at the end of this game. This was the score last time. So Tonga already have more points than they had the last time that they faced off up against the Samoans. So that is a huge bonus for these men. But now it's about finishing. Getting through the end of it. See whether or not they can turn it around here. Because 14 points is a large margin, but it's not the end of the world. We have good there. Did you get a good nap this morning, Hamish? I didn't. I actually ran out of time for napping. So what I was initially going to do is get some sleep before this stream. And then from there, after this stream, do a few little setups for those later live streams. And then go to bed for a decent amount of time. Wake up and do those 2 Rugby Championship ones. Instead, I kind of ran short on time. So what's ended up happening is I just stayed up doing a bit of work to get ready for those later streams. I've got pages and pages of stats, to be fair, with that Rugby Championship comp. But yeah, we should be well prepared for those live streams. Samoa's trash. NPC ruined our selection, says Robert T. And whereas the live will be on Rugby Pass TV, depending on where you are in the world. If you're in New Zealand, sadly, the only option is Sky. In USA, it's on Paramount Plus. And then Rugby Pass TV, pretty much every other option around the world is on there. And also we have got there now Japan was third, says Robert. And also Samoa got this score. Yeah, we'll see whether or not they can come back in this contest. They currently sit with that 14-point deficit. The Samoans will be kicking off from left to right. It's looking a little bit stormy in the background, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a downpour at some point throughout the second half. Another reason for Tonga to try and get that little bit more of a controlled lead, as well as the fact that they are in the scenario of the late strong bench from the Samoans, but it's going to be kicked off. Tuna Tuitama just knocking it on, trying to regather. And for whole ladder and PNC, right now, what spots for a team to qualify for the Rugby World Cup? Who last place in the whole comp don't qualify. From 1 to 6, says Mark. Is that right? I hadn't actually heard that. I knew that normally, at least for the previous World Cups, it's been you kind of play regionally in terms of that qualification process. But yeah, I'm not sure whether or not they've changed it now, because there are, of course, more teams in this next Rugby World Cup competition. So maybe that's impacted it a little bit. But yeah, I'll have to look into that and see what exactly is the importance of this one. But then the thing is, if it was all to do with qualification, surely Samoa and Tonga would have their strongest possible teams, right? To make sure that they get to that World Cup. Sixth place goes into the playoff with South America second. Okay, so, and does everyone else qualify LA 10s in that case? Do let me know. That would be awful for Samoa if they were to get knocked out of this. Now that I think about it, because they've already lost their 7 side of things. They're down in Division 3, so that will lose funding in a very quick hurry. Loser of that playoff then goes into the repechage, says LA 10s. Now going on the outside. Oh, Henry Taifu look for the pass, but it finds Charles Piatel. I'll go back for an original penalty advantage, though, and not easy doing what you're doing. Maybe some don't know how much work's involved to get this bloke to 100. Jeezy deserves it. Says Nards Williams, and it is greatly appreciated. Sometimes I do spend far too much time sitting here, I'll be honest, but it's just those little things that we try and get slightly right. And push like and subscribe. Did you hear 2 cents as Distracted Sports mentioned you on their last podcast? I did not hear that. I know that Tony's normally the one that brings me up. Was that the case again, Razor? What was the context as well? We haven't done anything together in a couple weeks, me, Tony, and Mark, so not sure what that would have been. It's always concerning because you never know what you're going to get with Tony. Looks like they're going to kick this one for the corner here, Samoa. So they have upped that aggression here just that little bit more. And, it's kicked dead by AJ Alatemu. That is a massive mistake from that man. I'll be hugely disappointed about that. Didn't Tonga play Cook Islands when they failed for the Pacific Nations Cup a few years ago? They had 2 test games for Samoa to qualify and lost both. They then beat the Cook Islands? They did, yeah. I think there was there another team involved in that? Like afterwards we saw South Korea played someone, didn't they? In like an Asian qualifier, I want to say that it was. A big attack and run forward. And then I think it was Hong Kong versus someone in the final and someone beat Hong Kong. That might have been Tonga, perhaps. Maybe with them beating the Cook Islands, then they faced Hong Kong, something like that. I know that there was a few leaps and bounds that they had to really go through for a chance. Now they're not gone there from Samoa. They're knocked on by the Tongans. A little bit of early handling problems. I love from Los Angeles in California, USA. Going for the Tongans, says Kathleen. Yes, you are correct, says LA Tens. And also, I got to see George again recently, says Naz, and we'll hopefully be able to get him on for next week as well. Although it is, I think, is next week when they play at 8 p.m. It's a slightly awkward one because it's probably going to overlap with the NPC. It was Tony, yeah, I can't remember the context, nothing bad. But something about popular channels needing to align together. I mentioned 2 or 3 popular channels by name, including you. Says it's Razor. Was that in like a comparison to the breakdown, maybe? Could be something like that. And Samoa's backline is a bad. Too many errors, says Robert T. If Samoa failed, this means they could most likely have 2 test games away to qualify if Tonga had 3 games a few years ago as a second chance, says Mark. Yeah, just showing there. Tonga's test history. The most played opposition is Fiji. Their second most is Samoa. They're going to be going head-to-head with the Fijians next week. Patrick Pellegrini. That's going to be a drop ball from Charles Piatal, but it goes backwards. Nicely taken. Pellegrini wrestled down by the strong and attacking Theo McFarlane. I doubt Samoa will lose to South America second. You just never know, though. It depends on where that game's taken place. Because, you know, there were games in that 7 side of things that I thought Samoa wouldn't have a chance of losing, and then sadly they did. And now they sit in Division 3. But, yeah, I agree. They should be able to get past them. But when you think about it, who would South America's second be? Would that be Chile? Perhaps? Because Argentina, I assume, would be the first. Although Argentina automatically qualify. So it could be Brazil, maybe? That they go head-to-head with. Or actually, it could be Uruguay. As another side that could find themselves up against the loser of these ones. Sitting 5 metres out from the line, Saul Mali. Another line-out chance here for Tonga. Not a huge amount of time left in this match if Samoa were to concede again here. And Tonga will be chasing that bonus point. Takalua tries to spin. Milani Matavaldo rips the ball off him. Going to be taken back into the in-goal area. And it will be a 5 metre scrum now for Tonga. They've got Big Ben Tame Funa as a front row option, so that is going to bring a little bit of an extra pack, a little bit of extra punch to it too. We have got the, I could be totally wrong. I think it was something about how you could all benefit from using footage instead of World Rugby copyright striking everyone. That does make sense. Like at the end of the day, like even someone like probably perfect example is a Squid Rugby. He has to be extremely careful with what he shows, and he had a patch where he was getting copyright strikes left, right, and centre from World Rugby, and I think he managed to fight them off in the end. But, you know, if I was, for instance, to say, oh, was this a try, was this not a try, and then show 5 seconds of footage, I can be copyright struck and banned for 3 months off YouTube. So, it's like other sports have done it quite well in terms of allowing some sort of footage to be used, even if they copyright claim it. Like, people won't mind. You know, it's one of those ones that if they just, you know, worked in with YouTube a little bit, it could actually be hugely beneficial and it would actually grow the game a lot more, definitely with how social media is. Nowadays, no way Samoa will be Uruguay, I doubt it. Says Katzenel, and not over till it's over Tonga, says Kalepi in there, and also we have got that, I won't sound as cool saying it, but we got the Chahu in there, and the Tonga finally, says Saya. Now ball's going to be fed in by Sonatane Takalua. Now, this is a big push coming in from Samoa with the defence. Loto Anisi manages to get the offload away. Looping around was Fatuli Pai 5 metres out from the try line. Malani Matavao looking for the steal and the breakdown, but he is told to get out of it. Now Takalua, pick and go, gives it off to Bentame Funa. Oh, he's just broken Theo McFarlane's leg in half. And that does not look too good for Theo McFarlane. Bentame Funa, he sat down and pretty much dropped the shoulder, and McFarlane's leg crushed in the process. He doesn't look like he's going to continue in this game. Samoa might pull something off in this comp to protect themselves. Samoa beat a full-strength Italy team in 2024 back in Samoa, using a few Moana Pacifica and some NPC players. Well, that is true. Of course, that repechage match, I'd assume, would take place outside. That knee and hamstring and everything is done for Theo McFarlane. I don't know how he's going to continue in this game. He pretty much just got bent the wrong way on the knees and went fully sideways. He's trying to tough it out and maybe seeing if he can move it, but it's not going to be a nice one. Bundesliga, the soccer league, and Germany will allow some big YouTube creators to stream the live. Rugby should do the same, says Katzenel. Yeah, I did see that about, that's football, isn't it? They're going to be showing some matches. Only some. I assume that it's maybe like one game around or something like that, but it's still something, you know? Imagine for the Pacific Nations Cup, for instance, if next week we somehow were able to show Fiji versus Tonga. Like, imagine if the finals, you know, even if it's the 5th and 6th place playoff game in a few weeks' time, just some sort of footage would be quite cool. We have got the American sports allow audio and a freight train down Tamafuna's way. This just flipped the qualifiers. Imagine having Samoa and Namibia fighting for a 1. It'd be tough. And I don't actually know who would get the better of that one. How's the injury look? Enough to put Theo out of his comp he plays for in Europe? Hard to say at the moment. He's at least on his feet. He looks like he's trying to walk it off, but I don't think that's going to work too well. So we'll wait to see whether or not they fully take him off or whether he's going to try and tough it out. But pretty much what happened was he went for a low tackle on Tamefuna. He was bent at the hips and his knees just kind of collapsed underneath him because Tamefuna was getting a lot of downwards force. I'm watching this while waiting for my train, so hopefully your train is on time. Only 33 minutes remaining in this contest, currently sitting 20 points to 6 and a 5-meter tap here for the Samoans. Now Lotto Anisi pops it up to Pellegrini, who has been hit hard, and his rib just went about 5 meters out of his body. Now Matavao going for the kick in behind. Nicely taken around the halfway line for the Tongans. Tuna Tuitama managing to make a tackle there early on his opposite number in his downside for both teams. Says Mark there. Penalty count has been going heavily against Tonga. They need to sort that out. And Samoa's handling is probably the thing that you could look at for them. That's been the worst. Is that Taleni Su? It is Taleni Su in that number 6 jersey. Another knock on from Tonga. This time, McFarlane's done for in this game. He's still walking on it, but you also wonder whether or not that's a bit of adrenaline and also the fact that he's got it all heavily strapped. But doesn't look good for him. That was a huge hit from Samuel Slade on Patrick Pellegrini. Set him down big time. You know, McFarlane's starting to feel it a little bit more. That walk towards the sideline and then walking around is getting slower and slower. Who's his replacement? I believe they've actually gone with the... I believe it would be Olajuwon Noah. And there, I also should mention it's Joel Lamb, not Jack Lamb. So I did mess that up a little bit earlier on when I said that Jack was off the bench. Samoa has some quality players, but too many wink links in this current squad. Lack of discipline. I hope Tonga win. I think Samoa will qualify for the Rugby World Cup on their next chance, says Robert T. I feel like it would be great to see them at their World Cup, definitely with it being in Australia. I don't know, there's something about Samoa playing in New Zealand, playing in Australia, playing in Samoa, even playing in France, that just seems to bring, like, that physicality that they bring to a game just makes it so entertaining to watch. And, like, the crowds were absolutely loving them in that last World Cup competition, rightfully so. Changed my name into Chinese in preparation for the China fight night. Of course, who's on the main card? Johnny Walker's in the main fight, isn't he? Where are they on the field? Currently sitting 35 metres out from the line for the Samoans. Milani Matavao going off to the left-hand side, finding Aki Sauli. Was tackled low by the Tongans. Now going to be the penalty advantage going off to the left-hand side one more time, finding the hands of Tomasi Alosio. I had to play a little bit of catch-up because I was slightly behind there. I think Samoa's half-experienced side should help out the new debutants who started. I've got that Mingyang madness. Okay, no foul play on the breakdown. So Tonga actually going to manage to get this ball back. It's going to be play on with Ben Tamefuna. Offloads now to Sajve Fisiahui, who will put boot to ball. Looking for the 50-22. Is it going to curl enough? Ball sits just in the in-goal area. And it will be the goal line dropout. One less metre on that kick, and that could have been extremely interesting. But Sajve Fisiahui deciding that he's going to play it like a back and kick that ball downfield. 30 minutes remaining in this matchup now. Going to be a goal line dropout. And we're just checking to see whether or not there was any foul play, but that would have been an incredible 50-22 for the loose head prop with the fact that he received the pass from Ben Tamefuna as his main support option. But now, goal line dropout for Alatimu. Going to be kicked off. Bouncing awkwardly here. Tonga, though, cleaning it up with Loto Anisi. This is dangerous when he gets this much speed going. It was always going to be a battering ram running into a concrete wall. He's done all right. No one's been knocked out. That's the main thing. Now Ben Tamefuna sitting 25 metres out the line. Takaloa drop ball, though, from the try-scoring Moana. Or Moala, I should say. And up the guts. It also lets go Tonga. Says, let's drop there. It was a big run forward from Finney Anisi. And you could see as he was getting closer, sometimes players slow down because they don't fully commit. He decided, oh, there's two men. I'm going to run straight at them and see what happens. Just getting those extra few metres as well. Oh, this might be Ben Tamefuna down, ladies and gentlemen, here. This is a bit of a concerning sight. I can't tell because he's upside down. I think it's Tamefuna. Or is it Saulamai? I can't quite tell. I haven't Sessioni. He pretty much just full steam to hit it right into the line. And, I mean, he got hit hard, but I think he also got a bit of a hit in too. Is that a sneaky Tanu Umaga hiding in behind a head there with a Moana Pacifica kit on? Can't actually see him. The other guy needs to duck down a little bit to see whether or not that was Tana. And Tonga reaping rewards for their preparation in advance for this tournament. Showing on and off the field. Yeah, Ben Tamefuna, the man who will make his way off the field. Couple injury concerns from this game. He still has the time to give the round of applause for the crowd, and they are giving him a big cheer in this match too. Johnny Walker, what a legendary name. I remember Willie Mason and Rene Matua. Tears about him in his name. Says Nas there. You see, Johnny Walker's an interesting fighter, isn't he? Because he's one of those guys that he looks like he has all of the potential, but then the chin never quite holds up. And I think that him getting injured celebrating his win just kind of halted his career completely when he ended up tearing that shoulder from trying to do the worm. He certainly won't do that again. Now, chance here for Lamb off the bench. The youngster, Joel Lamb. Also, we do see there Sam Molly. He has made his way on. Tuifua is on for Fisiahui, and also, I believe it is Tafurka? Tafurka, is that his name? Takaufu, I think it is actually, sorry. Other way around with the F and the K. Careful. We have got there previously what was Tonga's major problems in the past. Tonga had decent attacking, but defence is usually bad. Samoa's weakness is lineouts. Yeah, see, I'd say that in the past, compared to some teams, Tonga's always been a little bit light in terms of players available. But now that seems to have changed. They've got some really good players across this 23. And honestly, if they can build that bench up a little bit more, maybe that is with a few more returns, you know, maybe be quite competitive in the near future. Patrick Pellegrini, he's been a great option for them in that 10 jersey. I wouldn't want to take Johnny Walker on in a pub. says Naz Williams. And Min Yang has all first round KOs, by the way. Johnny's going to sleep. Jeez, that's dangerous, isn't it? And we have their Tonga reaping rewards for their preparation in advance of this tournament. Showing on the field showing on the on-field performance. Will be rough for you watching the Wallabies game 1 a.m. Already rough time to watch here in Australia, says Will. And then we are also going to be staying up to do New Zealand versus Argentina as well. So we got a bit of rugby ahead of us. Then on Monday morning, I think I'm going to be doing the Curry Cup and the Women's World Cup. So covering all the comps, or at least most of them. And yeah, okay, now I'm on the train. What do you say to someone on a train? Do you say drive safe? Or do you say like ride safe? No, Duncan Paiua, not for this game, sadly. And also I don't think for in general in the Samoan squad. I don't know whether he got selected. I think Duncan's injured. And didn't make selection, says Mark. Okay, holding the weight is the call there from Angus Gardner. Currently 54 minutes through. Haven't had a lot of tries scored at all throughout the second half. In fact, we've had no points at this stage. Crowd gone a little bit silent. They are waiting for something big to happen. Perhaps it could be just around the corner. Having a quick look at the way that it sits. Currently, Samoa are $10 underdogs. Heading into this one for the final 26 minutes. I might watch some of the Rugby World Cup games and go to bed after the All Blacks game, says non-mum. That's probably fair enough. Like, at the end of the day, the Rugby Championship, these leagues anyway, do not favour us here in New Zealand or in Australia for that matter. Like, the Northern Hemisphere time zone as well as South Africa does work very nicely. How's Tonga doing? They've been, I was going to say really strong, but they've still had a few mistakes. They had 10 penalties against them up till this stage in the competition, but they have been really good when it comes to their defense, but also their decision-making on attack has been what's thoroughly impressed me here. For the Tongans, Takalua, now big Fen coming in from Moala. Letero Tale also making his way onto the field for Ania Sui, and then also Adams on for Akaseuli. Pick and go around the side of the break down here. For, I believe it would have been, little grubber in behind attempt. Lolangi Vision, yeah, I forgot he was on the field, but it was Halafanua, the man who I didn't quite say just before. Now awkward bouncing ball, Patrick Pellegrini picks it up, looking for maybe a 50-22, a Samoa aren't back. They have got a man there, and is that run into touch by Tuna Tuitama? If it was, yeah, it's out on the full, in fact. And why did he touch it? So that it was out on the full, I guess, because he has got very lucky there. No, that's in the field of play. It's going to be out on the full only because Tuna Tuitama dropped it. I think that they have to go right back to where this one was going to be. But I think they've got very lucky there. Wait, what did they just say? Played in touch already. Good call from the TMO was the comment there from the referee, but I don't think that was the right call. I appreciate the effort when pronouncing the names. Good job, says David New Year. Yeah, we've had a little bit of practice with some names, but some of them do still not quite roll off the tongue, unfortunately, as smoothly as I would like. To drop my son and friends off at a party tonight. I think his dad can come pick him up if he needs a ride back home. And there's a lot of Samoa's other older players injured. Some of Moana players, they've ended up missing a whole season, I think. And same for some in Europe too. Then there's NPC, I think, says Mark. So a lot of the older players for Samoa just didn't decide to play. Then you've also got a few guys, the likes of a Miracle Whaialangi. He pretty much straight up said, I'm choosing the NPC over international. How do we watch the actual game live? Best option would be Rugby Pass TV. Depending on where you are in the world will depend if that is an option, but it is outside of New Zealand and whatnot the best way being able to watch it. Man, Solomon Kata was a phenom. I remember him playing in our first 15. He was unstoppable. And also, yeah, that's why referee sucks, says the What's Up Guys podcast. Yeah, it just seemed like a bit of a rush decision from the refereeing panel there, because Tuna Tuitama, the only reason that ball went out on the full, like I said, was because he actually pushed it over the sideline. Couple changes now being made here for Tonga. We do see the try scorer, Sonatane Takalua, coming off, and that is going to be for Augustine Pulu. And then I think it's going to be Afangia is that number 19 in this game. And Palmy Boys says, Rim it's Razor. Now another scrum here for the Samoans as Tonga did end up kicking this ball dead. Alafipo onto the field for Alessio. Big chance. Samoa need this try. They need it in the next, I would say, 10 minutes to feel like they've got half a chance of coming back. But if it is any later than that, I think they'd be done in this game, unfortunately. That would only leave them about that 13 minutes on the clock, and that will go very fast as we progress through the rest of this game. Big scrum from the Samoans. Didn't get the advantage from Angus Gardner, but now backline movement. Skip over the top. Finally hands on Tuna Tuitama. Goes for the chipper behind his first breakaway chance. And it almost led to a try, but it's going to be taken back by Tonga. And 5 metre scrum now for the Samoans. Tonga can't let up or they will lose. Yeah, they have to be very careful here, because Samoa are the type of side that if they get a little bit of momentum going, they can score 2 quick fire tries. We have got how long to go. CSTs, at the moment, there is still another 25 minutes left in this matchup. In fact, maybe a little bit less. 22 minutes, my apologies. And go Tonga, says Nominata. Or Numaneta, I should say, sorry. Points from opposition, 22. 14 for Tonga. 6 for Samoa. And visits to opposition, 22. We've seen 8 visits so far for this Tongan team. 60% possession. They have been the better side out there on the field in pretty much every statistic apart from discipline, where they have struggled a little bit. We have Gadea Hamish. It's 5 in the morning here. I'm kind of like you now, Cisco Story Bro. Yeah, we've broken our sleep schedule quite a bit, and some of you guys do end up doing the same as well. Now going off to the left-hand side. Lamb pops it up. Big shot. And that is really well done from, would have been Solomon Ikata, shutting down Rodney Ono. We have got there Joseph with the happy faces in there. I assume that is because of the scoreline. At the moment, Tonga leading by the 14. Oh no, he's gone for Samoa in this case. But they have got themselves the ball at the moment. Rodney Ono trying to turn something up in their number 10 jersey. Let's not forget Solomon Ikata played NRL for the Warriors. You put that in perspective, he's that massive, he's still playing. Says Nars Williams, yeah, he's had a long career. It's great to see him in that Tongan kit time and time again. Now 10 metres out. Ben Nini, the pass was slightly behind him, but he does very nicely to hang on to it. Lolangi Vizinia tries to step. He's dragged down backwards by Lotu Anisi. And yes, I've lost sleep, says Robert there. Oh, that's a loose ball. And now Tonga. It's like they may have... No, they didn't do enough, in fact. The ball is still on the side of the Samoans. Back across to the left-hand side. Now backwards again. Good defence at the moment from the Tongans. We're just trying to find a gap in this back line. It's going to be a bounce pass out. Wide offload there to Tuna Tuitami. Might have been in touch. But I think they're going to award it. Yes, they do. And Tuna Tuitama gets Samoa now back into this match. How does NPC contract work? Back then, mid-2000s to early 2010s, they couldn't allow too many Tier 1 players or club players to play NPC. I just think if you play NPC, you also can't play international. Kind of. And pretty much the NPC is full of the guys who didn't get selected for international. So, you know, someone like, for instance, I'm trying to think of a good example. Let's say David Havili. For instance, he was mentioned earlier on. You know, he has played for the All Blacks last year, but he didn't get selected this year, so he's playing in the NPC. So it's pretty much, you know, if you're an All Black, you can play in the first, 2 rounds, I believe it is. But outside of that, normally, you don't really get too many chances. And his name is Tuna, says Robert T. Now, only a few seconds remaining on the shot clock here. 10 seconds remaining. And Rodney Ona. So away to the side. Tuitama is a workhorse. What club he plays. Wasn't he at World Cup 2, says Mark. So, Tuna Tuitama, I believe the team that he plays for is Moana Pacifica. He wasn't at the Rugby World Cup, but he was at the Sevens World Cup, I believe, not too long ago, which might be where that kind of comes from. We got there a long time to get first try, boy. Well, excellent Tonga defence. More like bad Samoan offence, says Jonathan. I've got some more hearts and whatnot from Joseph in there as well. But 18 minutes left in this game, and the score is 11 points to 20. Have the Tongans let this one slip? Or can they hang on for the 18 minutes? And it kind of feels like it is that scenario of trying to hang on now. They need 2 more tries to get themselves the bonus point from this game. That feels like it's a little way away. Now, big stepping. Oh, collision of heads there. That might get looked at by the referees. I don't think he meant to do it. Referee says play on, but it was a bit of an awkward collision. That is going to be the offside going against the Tongans. Now Samoa. Oh. 15 for Samoa going off for an HIA here. That will be Lolangi Vizinia. I'm not actually too sure when he got that collision. Okay, the mouthguard detector's gone off. Lolangi Vizinia takes the mouthguard out, looks at it, shakes his head, and will make his way from the field. He looks utterly confused here. I was about to go to bed and saw your notification. The game is on Paramount Plus. My feed is a bit ahead. I won't spoil it. Good night, says Mo. So it is much appreciated you popping in, Mo, even though it is, of course, a random hour for yourself. Now, Rodney Ona can into touch, and Samoa might put a Japan, or might pull a Japan versus Samoa at Rugby World Cup. If you know, you know. Says Mark. Could happen. At the moment, the Samoans, they have got the momentum. They've also got the line-out throw for Latero Tolai. Going to the front, that's not straight. Referee's going to say play on, though. I don't know whether or not that could have been any more far from the centre. Definitely with the fact that Tonga did throw up an individual too. Looks like it's going to be play on. Now Lamb, little loop and pass to Rodney Ono, who is wrapping around the back. Samuel Slade hit hard from Fafita. And Samoa's line out is a weakness, says Mark. Little chip in behind, attempted. That one will bounce into touch. Charles Piatel covering that one. Oh, thought about the quick throw there for Charles Piatel. Referee pretty much saying you can play it if you really want to, but I think in the end the decision was to just hold off for that little bit longer. Couple more changes about to make their way onto the field here. It's going to be Samuel Slade off. Michael Curry will make his way on. We have got there, but their mauls are a big strength, funnily enough. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because if they can get that rolling maul, or sorry, get that line out right, they get in a good position to be able to create some really physical rolling maul chances. But if they can't get that line out from the get-go, it does make it very difficult. The being up all night has now just hit me, ladies and gents, in terms of the tiredness levels, but we've only got another 15 minutes then from there. Get to have a bit of a sleep before the Rugby Championship. That one's going to be kicked in behind. Oh, awkward bouncing ball. Samoa having to clean it up inside of their 22. But it's going to be going back for another penalty, this time in favour of Tonga. Tonga is so going to win this. I think one more try will do it for them. But okay, I think there was just the conversation there between Patrick Pellegrini and the referee asking the question of why it wasn't further forward. But it is because it is where the grubber lands, not where it finishes. It'll be against Tuna Tuitama, the man who was penalised for that one. Pellegrini, what's the decision here? Looks like a shot at the post is going to be called. Grab a bag. See you next time, mate. Pellegrini. Okay, Angus Garner just saying there to Tonga. Oh, okay, this is an interesting one. The TMO has just said that the penalty was 40 metres out rather than about 25. So the referee said, I'll give you the option again. Do you still want to go for the post or do you want to go for the line out this time? So they did end up going with the post still for Patrick Pellegrini. Do you like mango prosciutto, is it? Ice cream by yes. I haven't tried it. I don't mind mango though, so I'll probably like it. And have a tin of corned beef, Hamish, will wake you up, says Nars Williams. And also, they don't need one more try because we all know who's going to win this. Is What's Up Guys podcast, although they would like 2 more, really, if we're being honest, because that would give them a bonus point, which would put them a lot closer to finishing top of the table, or at least high up there. Now that one's going to be hooked around, and Pellegrini still gets it over, making the score now 23 points to 11. The 2 converted tries for Samoa would get them back into it. Can you show the game on the screen? Sadly, due to the copyright, any match footage or audio get us taken straight off YouTube, but it is on Rugby Pass TV, their website, so be sure to check that out. It depends on where you are in the world, but it should be free to air if you're in one of the countries listed. Tonga and Fiji have good have good tens. Manu Samoans is missing this, says Robert T. That's true. Like, Pellegrini has been a game changer for the Tongans throughout this one. Everett would love 5 more tries, says next time. And also another great error. Too many weak links. That's going to be stolen here by Samoa, though. Going back across to the left-hand side. Michael Curry met with a big shot and then the knock-on from Ben Nini. And it's just the handling at the moment for Samoa. It was mentioned early on in the match that could have been the big difference maker for them. The crowd are loving it. Of course, they will be there in Tonga for this match. But a frustrating type of game here for these Samoans. Looks like a bit of an injury here for Fafita. And Patrick, a blessing for Tonga, says Epa. Absolutely. Like, that man single-handedly, I feel like, has completely changed the complexion of this backline for the Tongans. So Michael Alalatai has been taken off now. Just the 12 minutes remaining in the match. Now we're like 3 more tries for Tonga. And then it turned into 5 for next time. He's going to make his way back up. He's kind of waddling here. I think he's going to try and continue. Somehow too much social media posting. And eat free foods. Waste. Says Sky Far there. I haven't really been following the social media. What have they been doing on their socials, Samoa, other than, I guess, promoting this match? Tonga conceded 35 points combined in the final quarter of their games in the Pacific Nations Cups 2024, the most in the comp. But in this case, they've only conceded that 1 try. Now ready to put the ball in again. It will be Augustine Pulu. Tonga just want to get that 1 more try at least. If not 2. Cheers from California, boys. Says Fussy, it's greatly appreciated you being here. We are going to be back for the game next week between Tonga and Fiji, which does seem like it could be the decider in terms of who will finish at the top of the table in this group. On the other side, we saw Canada get themselves the win over the USA. Japan going to be playing next week up against the Canadians, I think. Or in fact, no, it might actually be the USA for next week's game. And also a couple more games of international rugby later on. Argentina taking on New Zealand and South Africa playing Australia. A big opportunity here for Tonga. If they win this game, they will move up 2 world rankings. If they win it by 16 or more, they will move up 3. So they would move to 17th in the standings. If they were to win it with a bonus of the 16 or more points, they would move up to 16th, and Samoa, either way, would drop into 14th. That is definitely not what they will be after in this scenario. It's going to be chipped in behind for the Samoans, going up for it, beautifully taken there under the high ball for Elizabeta Alafipo, but it's stolen by Tonga straight away. It's the lack of ball security here for the Samoans. Tonga for sure, says Sky, and that's anyone streaming the game for free. Rugby Pass TV on their website, they are showing it in some locations around the world. It does depend on whereabouts you're trying to watch from, though, but I'd recommend checking it out, seeing whether or not it is an option for yourself. Now close to the sideline for Anisi. Back across for Tulipaia. Finds Fafita. Tonga's phase play in this match has been a bit of a game changer too. Who's the oldest player both teams and the youngest, says Mark. Youngest I'm not too sure of. For Tonga, how old's Sinatane Takalua? He's going to be close to it. Either that or Charles Piatel perhaps would be the oldest Tongan players. Oh, penalty goes the way of Samoa. Trying to think who their oldest player would be. I don't think Michael Alatoa is that old, is he? Michael Alatoa, he is 33. That's going to be close to one of the older players. How old's Rodney Ona? 34, so Rodney Ona, a little bit older. We'll go Sonatane Takalua. How old is he? He is 34. So he might not actually be the oldest in this Tongan side. Ben Tamefuna, I don't think is that old. Why is the first thing that comes up for Ben Tamefuna's wife? This is the first thing that people have been looking for. He's 33. More so than Ben Tamefuna. And Tonga for sure. Latero Tale. The line out throw here. Looking through it, who else in the side could be relatively up there? Sage Frey Fisiahoy is the oldest at 37 for the Tongans. I completely skipped over him, didn't I? I was looking at the other prop in that scenario. Nice run forward from Anisi again. And Michael Alatoa is older than his brother who plays for the Brumbies. I think he's the... One moment, we'll have a look. I want to say that Alan Alatoa, though, he's the younger of the two. Alan Alatoa is 31. So, yeah, Michael Alatoa, the older brother. Which is weird, because Alan Alatoa, he feels like he's been around for so long that you'd just expect him to be the older of the two, to be honest. And now another chance here at line-out time. The Tiro Tole. And they get this one right, Samoa. They are inside of their own 22. Nicely claimed with the one hand from Ben Nini. And now another big run forward from Patelo Mapu. They've done very well to shut him down. He's tried a few big runs, and every time they just seem to drop him. Taken by Patrick Pellegrini. Manages to get round one of the opposition. And lineouts have been terrible for Samoa. They have better players too. Just an off day really today. Yeah, I do think they'll be stronger in their next game because they don't play next week, but they play the week after up against the Fijians. Now, that's not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination, but just, I don't know, they might have a little bit more cohesion at that point. They seem to get a little bit better, I thought, throughout their game up against Scotland as they started building chemistry. But they just don't have enough games throughout a year to be able to do that consistently in terms of knowing how each other are going to play. Ironic, they're both brothers. They've both captain national teams, says Mark. And the fact that they both play prop too. In that regard, both playing the same position. So no wonder Michael decided, nah, my brother might be... Or maybe it was Alan Alatoa who decided brother might be a little bit better, so I'll go over and have a crack with the Aussies. But that's going to be the penalty going the way of Tonga here again. They could go for the 3 if they want. It's available. It is kicking distance for Patrick Pellegrini, who has been very strong off the kicking tee today. I think that there's a bit of a conversation going on there between Charles Piatel and Augustine Pulu. It looks like they're calling for the tee again, though. I'll be honest, I think this is the right choice. Oh, my apologies. This time they're kicking for the corner. See, I thought that this time would have been the one that you go for the 3 points to get outside of the 2-try margin, but they are actually going with what I initially mentioned, and that is chasing the bonus point in this contest. They have got more than enough capabilities to score in twice in the next 5 minutes. Now, abiding game between Waikato and Taranaki. How many minutes through is that one, Novmum? We might be able to catch the end of it if this game does continue to run as smoothly as it has. We've only had the one injury. We've got 5 minutes left in this game, so how long is left in that Ramphilly Shield one? Lalangi Vizinier, he has come back out onto the field, so obviously that mouth guard once again has been proven wrong. Tonga will be a force to be reckoned with if they get a great coach. So here's Mr. and Mrs. Manu. And also just like the player depth that's coming through at the moment, they've thoroughly impressed me throughout this game. In a contest that they were considered underdogs, and some people weren't really giving them much of a chance. In fact, I saw many predictions that had Samoa as 13 plus in terms of the points difference. Well played, Tonga. But yeah, they've done very nicely. Now looking for this rolling maul with 5 minutes left on the clock, 69 minutes through. So yeah, we might be able to catch that last 5 minutes of that contest as well. Now getting that little bit closer to the try line. Tonga, this one's going to be very hard to stop for the Samoans. They go over and score it. That is the third. There's a dog pile going on in terms of players all jumping on the guy on the ground. But the job's not done. One more try is what they need. I wonder whether or not they think it is 3 more than their opposition. Even if that's the case, that's still wrong. Sorry. Seistra Fisiahoy is age 38. Says Sione there. And also go Tonga, says Davida. And also, hey, Hamish, fun fact, Tonga and the ABs were the only team. Scored 3 tries against the Box, Rugby World Cup 2023. Says Laurie there. And also we got there Jahu from Nars Williams. That will be the game, ladies and gentlemen, for the Tongans. 4 minutes remaining on the clock. Still time to get that one last try, but I think that was more so the celebration from Tonga with knowing that this was the win rather than anything more just at this point. They just knew that they needed a big victory, and they've done it here. They've pretty much reversed what the score was last time these two sides played, and it was only a year ago that we saw the head-to-head. Patrick Pellegrini, that is once again coming around. I would probably give him man of the match for the way that he's played in this contest. I do think that there's been a few of the forwards who have done very nicely as well, but Pellegrini for me has been a bit of a game changer in this whole contest. The way that he's been able to work it from that number 10 jersey, create a bit of space, and his goal kicking too has been phenomenal. Now going to be kicked off short. Tonga taking it nicely, almost catching a stray boot there. Was one of the Samoan tacklers. Samoa's players better show up for the next Rugby World Cup qualifier, man. They need to show up in Australia, otherwise we're all jumping to the Wallabies. Says Robert T. And Pellegrini has controlled things well. Yeah, he's just, like, there were times in the Moana Pacifica season where they wouldn't select him. And it annoyed me because he has such great control of a game. And you know, every once in a while he'll have an off game, but then that's the case with literally any player. But in that number 10 jersey off the kicking tee too, he just adds so much to this Tongan side. Tonga have a strong squad this year compared to last year, just missing some good players as well. Some still playing in France and England for the club, says Sione there. And yeah, I do think that this Tongan side's building well towards that next World Cup. And hopefully they will have everyone available and there aren't too many injuries. Rodney Ona tackle picked up there by Fatuli Paya. That is, they've called it back. Fatuli Paya could have had the try. Tonga celebrating it. Takalua having a laugh on the sideline about it. Now I'm just waiting for my bus. Says, what's up, guys? And I don't know Tonga's selection that much. Is this near their best side or what? I feel like most of these guys are their top. I think that they're still probably probably 5 players away from their strongest lineup. Maybe even a couple more. Just in the process of the tackle, the ball was knocked on by the big replacement tie prop. Patrick would work well with Lima Sopawonga if Sopawonga played for Moana. Says Mark there. And we have there Hamish as all the Barretts playing today. They have got all 3 that are going to be playing in the contest. I wonder who the next brother combo is going to be that we see for the All Blacks. Some have said the Sullivan brothers, Zahn and Balin. Who else have we got at the moment? In terms of 2 active guys playing at the same time. So, like, not Kini Naholo after Waisaki played a long time ago. Who do you guys think will be the next duo of brothers in the All Blacks environment outside of the Barretts? Can we see Akira Ioane somehow come back into the fold so that it's Rico and Akira? Will Jordan have a brother? Because if he does, chuck him in the ABs straight away. Can't really think of too many others, to be honest. Waikato might actually win the Shield, says Highlanders fan. Yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on it after this game does finish with just the 30 seconds remaining in the matchup. There is nothing to gain from this game for Samoa, but they have got themselves a quick tap opportunity, and we'll go away to the left-hand side. Rodney Ona, one more pass on the outside to the left, but a big shot coming in from Solomon Kata, who also has to be up there for a man of the match possibility, but I think I'd still give it to Pellegrini. Crowd counting down on the clock. They are loving it. Now Tonga, though, they want to get this ball back, and Tui Tama almost wrestled into touch. Just keeps the ball in the field of play. There is another advantage here for Samoa. It's because Tanu Umaga looking for a Samoan fly half first. He does want to give Tonga a good fly half, hence the not playing him for Moana. Says Abel there, now going off to the left-hand side, breaking the line there for Samoa, just throwing the ball away, but it's gone into the hands. One more pass. They will get the try in the corner. It is Malani Nanai, but too little too late from the Samoan side. That will not get them any sort of bonus in this contest, as they will still be without the inside 7. And Tonga Big Heart says to Vita, yeah, the way that they played in this game was thoroughly impressive. They had about 12 penalties against them, and they still managed to win this game. They didn't get the bonus point, which I do think could come back to bite them a little bit. But at the end of the day, they play like this up against the Fijians, minus a few penalties. Next week's game could be very intriguing, because we've got to remember that will be Fiji's first game since their loss to Australia. We need to keep Joey Lamb. He is solid, says Robert. Yeah, he's looked pretty decent off the bench, to be fair. For the youngster, he took a big shot there. And Tonga missing their good 12, George Moala. Says Sione, although to be fair to Fatuli Pai, he's looked relatively solid throughout this game too. And Waikato needed to go 80 minutes, or 80 metres in 5 minutes. And also Tonga got going to be the oldest team in the 2027 World Cup. That kick from Rodney Ona misses away to the side. So the full-time score, 30 points to 16 between these two sides. What we will quickly do, ladies and gents, before we end this one, we will mention about the Ranfurly Shield game taking place at the moment. Waikato versus Taranaki. So before I say anything here, if you don't want to know who's winning this game at this point in time, be sure to click off now. But if you want to know who wins the Ranfurly Shield, stick around for a few more minutes. 4 minutes remaining in that contest, but Samoa versus Tonga, the win goes the way of the Tongans there. Thank you, Hamish. Awesome commentary again and again and again. The man says Nards Williamson. It's greatly appreciated you being here. We will be back, of course, for those 2 rugby championship games. The attacking line of Samoa is shocking. They are too predictable. Our one on Tonga Kingdom, they are a good side, says Robert T. And yeah, Samoa's handling errors just really hurt them throughout that matchup too. At this point, Tonga not playing rugby. They're hosting a tackle clinic, and Samoa accidentally RSVP'd, says a hot onion soup. And also, hopefully, Flower Fakatava switches to Tonga. He might do if New Zealand keep on picking everyone but him in the halfback department. Like, they've gone as deep in their halfback stocks as they will need to probably ever. And the fact that it was Preston and Finlay Christie, you just wonder whether or not that's what's going to put them over the line, or put him over the line. Oh, that was close. Referee almost awarding a penalty to Taranaki. So now, spoiler alert, score in this Ranfurly Shield game is, click off if you don't want to know it, it's currently sitting 22 points to 20 in favour of in favour of Waikato. So Taranaki trying not to lose their shield, sitting only about 5 metres out from their own line. They're going to have to go the full length of the park. While other teams from other pool stages play each other for the Pacific Nations Cup. So pretty much the way that it works is the top teams, 2 from each group, play each other in the next round. So it will be more than likely at the moment Fiji and Tonga. They will play the top 2 sides in the American group, or the Americas and the Japanese. So USA, Canada, and Japan. So at the moment, let's say it's Japan, Canada, then the semi-finals happen, and then whoever wins goes on to the final. I'm nervous. I want Waikato to win, but at the moment, they're looking not too bad for it. Taranaki looking for the turnover, and it's an advantage in favour of this Waikato side. I should actually mention Taranaki were in the lead going back for the drop kick here. Lima Sopawonga setting up for it, gets it charged down, but he'll have a kick for 3. Oh, they're going back. Oh, that was a big call there. I think that could have been play on. Are you commentating 2 games? No. So this one has finished. For some reason, they haven't said full time, though. Hopefully, they have a chance as Islanders fan. But yeah, Waikato now have a chance to line up the post with Lima Sopawonga, the veteran. He's a player who was playing for Samoa not too long ago in that Rugby World Cup in 2023. That is a mistake from Taranaki that may have just cost them the Ranfurly Shield. Sapawonga went for the drop kick. It was charged down by Kalen Boshier. What we're going to quickly do is we go NPC. This isn't a score. It's a crime scene. Samoa's game plan must have been written in disappearing ink, says Hot Onion Soup. So Waikato have to that's... Okay. Nothing against Taranaki at all, but I kind of want Waikato to win so that Southland have to... or they have to defend against Southland next game. Wait a minute. 10 seconds remaining. The ball fell off the kicking tee. But now Lima Sapawonga, the pressure to line up this one. And he gets it over. 30 seconds remaining. Waikato lead by 1. And now Taranaki are behind. This doesn't make any sense. Has this game ended or not? It has. They just haven't got full time down the bottom. He missed. Says, no, he got it over. They are leading at the moment. Now, Xavier Rowe, 10 seconds. I think Waikato are going to get it. And they will have to face a Southland side that have won more games in a row than they have in 11 years. But Waikato will take the Ranfurly Shield, ladies and gents. Tonga will take out this game 30 points to 16. Like I said, the game ended a little while ago. It just doesn't want to end for some reason. But yeah, Waikato take the Taranaki Ranfurly Shield off them. I think that's Aaron Cruden out there. Lima Sapawonga. He has had quite the feat since coming back. My Stags are ready to take the shield. Well, that's the thing. Southland are as close as they will ever be, I believe, in terms of being ready for this Ranfurly Shield in the near future. So they will definitely be keen to try and get it. But they'll be playing at FMG Stadium. It's going to be hard to do. But nonetheless, I'm sorry I'm confused. This is What's Up Guys podcast. So that's the Ranfurly Shield that we're talking about. This game's already ended. 30 points to 16 in that one. But you know what? Just to make it a little bit easier, we'll grab that and we'll go like this. There you go. We've changed it to full time so that it doesn't confuse you too much. 1 second, we'll go like that. We'll go like that as well. As the game finished, the game is finished full time in the contest. Don't worry about the little 88 there, but it is currently sitting at 30 points to the 16. In fact, we'll just delete that one too. And we'll go like that. There we go, full time. In this contest, 30 points to 16 between the two sides. Tonga get themselves the win. And we have, oh no, it just changed back to 89. But the game is over. No matter how much it's trying to convince you otherwise, match is over. But nonetheless, hopefully we'll see a few of you guys for the Rugby Championship. First game taking place at 2 a.m. New Zealand time for when we are starting, but it will be a 3:10 a.m. kickoff for that contest. And then also New Zealand versus Argentina. That is a 9:10 a.m. game next week. Well, sorry, not next week. Tomorrow morning. And we will be doing that one as well. At this point, Tonga's not playing Samoa. They're playing with them. This is straight up bullying on national TV, says Hot Onion Soup. On why am I drinking Coke while watching my phone? That's really unhealthy. Says What's Up Guys podcast. And also saw that our rugby players would have been great Warriors, NRL League players. Rennie Ranger, Sam Tuitupo would have been great, says Laurie. Yeah, it is always intriguing, the comparison between the two kind of types of rugby and then, you know, who would have done well. But nonetheless, I guess we will see you guys in about 11 or probably 10 hours, in fact, till we are live for that next one. So be sure to tune in. But if you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.